Let's go, let's go. Happy Monday. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Yes, if you saw the thumbnail, we messed up totally. So when I was torquing this, I told you guys in the previous video, or actually 2 videos ago, when I put a picture up there and I showed the install and I showed the torques on there, correct? So, well, I gave you the wrong number on one part, the transmission mount. I over torqued the transmission mount. I know why I over torqued the transmission mount and where I got that number from, but we're going to talk about it. And in the process, I also realized that I had forgot I had the service manual. Completely didn't even think about it. I had the service manual this entire time. I could have been using the service manual, but complacency, lazy, whatever you want to call it. Honestly, I just completely forgot I had it. So we went back and looked at the service manual, and I confirmed my suspicion of why I used the wrong number. So I'm going to show you that here in a second. But good news is I did order that flex disc. The flex disc, aka the Guibo. It has been ordered. It's on its way. It'll be here this week, and we're going to change that out. I'm just going to reuse the bolts that are in there because I didn't see anywhere. I couldn't find any verbiage anywhere that said those are stretch bolts and they're one-time use, nothing like that. The only thing I did find out was that you can't order the flex disc from Porsche. They want you to replace the entire drive shaft. And when I look into the service manual, I kind of understand why. So let me show you the service manual now, and you guys will see what I'm talking about. All right, so once you guys download that folder for your 997 and you export it, this is what you're going to have. You're going to have one, and you open it up, it's going to say engine, fuel electronics, transmission, running gear, body, exterior, interior, air conditioning, electronics, etc. And all of this is your shop service manuals that have information about torques and specs and how to do things. So what we're interested in is transmission. So we're going to go into transmission, open this folder again, and so we have final drive ratios, clutch, torque converter, etc., etc. What we are interested in is front final drive. So we'll go here to front final drive. This first folder is for front final drive 2008. So this is Gen 1 997. This one is Gen 2 997, and this is GT3s and turbos in this folder. So let's go. We have a Gen 2 997, so we'll click here, and the very first file you come across, card and shaft, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So we'll open up card and shaft, and right there it tells you the special tool you're supposed to use for removing and installing card and shaft. Now, we're not going to install the card and shaft or remove the card and shaft. That's not our goal, but the flex mount that we bought and we ordered, this is where we need to go to get that information. And this is also where I realized I messed up. So as I'm looking at it right here at the very top, technical values, it gives you your torques. So card and shaft to the flange. So when we install the new flex disc, it's going to be 45 Newton meters or 33 foot-pounds. And the transmission bracket, we did install that 65 Newton meters or 48 foot-pounds. This is where we messed up. Look at what it says right here. Transmission bracket to support bracket support to the transmission mount. It's also 48 foot-pounds, and I installed it to 63 foot-pounds. I know why I did it, and I'm going to show you where I got that number from in just a minute. But when I saw that, I realized, oh crap, I totally messed up. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I over torqued it 13, 14 foot 10. I can't do math. I over torqued it. I didn't over torque it by like 50 or 100, so it's not a big deal. But we will fix it. Once we get the new flex disc, we'll remove the flex disc, the old one, and we're going to install the new one. And part of that process, you have to remove and install the transmission mount bolt. So we will remove it and install it and torque it correctly. And if you scroll down here, there's another thing I wanted to show you as well. Right here, when it says to support your transmission, so I supported it. If I zoom in here, I was supporting the transmission in my video. Actually, I'll put a picture of it here also. I supported my transmission right here on this front part, which is a strong part. It's a structural piece because that's where the mount attaches to. It actually tells you to put your support on your transmission jack on the pan. It says right here, support the ATF, automatic transmission fluid pan. That's where you're supposed to put the support, which kind of surprised me because that pan's a lot stronger than I thought it was. I didn't realize it was that strong. The other confusing thing about when I was looking at this, it tells you to remove your bracket here that's shaded, and then it tells you remove your jack. I was like, whoa, what do you mean remove your jack? What it's saying is remove your bracket, reinstall your bolt right here. See right here where the arrows are? Reinstall the bolt so that your transmission is supported from above, and then you can remove your support jack. And then you can undo these 3 bolts and put a pry bar between your cardan shaft. And you see right here where it has the number 1, that's your flex disc. And it tells you press the shaft using a mounting lever, aka a pry bar, if necessary, to remove it. I guess if you remove the bolts, it's supposed to be able to slide out without using a pry bar, but they've probably, after many years of sitting on the car, it probably doesn't want to come off. So that's why it tells you to do that. Now, per Porsche, you can't buy just this piece. You have to buy the entire drive shaft. I call BS. Let me look at this picture I'm putting up here. You can clearly see that the bolts are threaded into the shaft and they are removable. So we're going to replace just this. There should be no reason to replace the shaft unless it's bent, broken, corroded, or there's something wrong with the splines. And I don't think any of that is the case. We're going to inspect the shaft anyways when we get, or later this week once we get the part in, and we'll make the whole video of it and we'll pull it out and we'll look at it. There should be no reason to replace the shaft. If you have to replace the shaft, it's almost $1,000. If you're replacing just this disc that wears out, that is designed to wear out, $70. So I think we'll replace just a disc. And it tells you, what to do in the front. There's a bellows here. There's a spline in there. You got to grease it. How to reinstall it. Here's your torque again, 33 foot-pounds on these 3 bolts that attached. This is your mount. Yes, your transmission mount here. So this is looking aft. This is looking to the rear of your car. And so we'll do all that later this week. Let me tell you where I got my number from, where I messed up. So let me close this folder, and we'll back up a little bit, and we'll go to PDK Automatic Transmission R&R, Remove or Replace. So we'll open this up. We'll open our generation folder, and if I come down here to this one, PDK R&R, this is mounting the PDK. Let me, if I scroll to the top, actually, it's removing and mounting the PDK. So if I scroll down to mounting and removing, to the picture of mounting and removing the PDK, this one in particular, this is your engine right here. Here's your engine. Here's your mount points. There's your starter. If you want to know where your starter is, under your intake runners, there's your starter sticking through. So it tells you to remove all these bolts, and then when you install them, 63 foot-pounds. So for whatever reason, I had that number stuck in my head, probably because I watched a bunch of other videos about transmission stuff, and the number 63 foot-pounds was stuck in my head, and so that's what I torqued the transmission mount to, and that's actually the torque for the transmission to the engine. It's not the torque for the transmission mount to the chassis. So we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna look into, maybe we will replace that bolt altogether. So no big deal. I made a mistake. Shit happens. If you want to find out anything else about your car, these folders have pretty much everything. I got this a while ago, and I just completely forgot I had it. And I wanted to share. So hopefully I didn't mess anybody up. No one's done this job, and you didn't also over torque your transmission mount. If you did, I'm sorry, my bad. I'm only human. We make mistakes. But I wanted to fix this before you got ahead of it. So later this week we'll get the flex disc in, and we will swap it out. We'll correct the torque on the transmission mount, and we'll inspect the drive shaft. I don't think there's anything wrong with the drive shaft. I looked at it last time I was under the car, and it looked perfectly fine. I didn't see anything that stood out other than the flex disc itself being all cracked up. The drive shaft looked in really good shape. So we'll inspect that, and we'll R&R and figure out how we're going to do it. Are we going to do it with the drive shaft up in the car? Or are we going to pull the drive shaft out of the car? We'll figure all that out later this week. Enjoy your week. Sorry for the mistake. The links for everything, for the service manual, for the flex disc, mounting bolts, and I'm going to look up the link for, I'm also going to look up the bolt for the transmission mount. And I'm going to put all those links in the description of this video. And if you look at the previous video from this, you also have the links in there as well. All right. Have a good week. Catch you guys later. See you on the next video.